Hey guys, Daniel here from That Damn Brand, and this video is on building a 300 a $650 streaming PC. So the build is restricted by price. I tried to make sure that it stayed under $650. That does not include the operating system, but you can get an OS or a Windows 10 for cheap on eBay for $10. And if you don't trust eBay, Paul's Hardware has a good video on how to get it for $20. Granted, these are just codes, so you would still need to find somewhere to get like a download USB or make an installer CD. Not too sure how you would do that if you don't already have Windows 10. Maybe you can just buy an installer CD off eBay. Maybe you'll trust eBay for that. But yeah, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Like, subscribe. I didn't do an outro video on the other one, so our outro part on this video, so I'm doing it now. But I hope you enjoy the build, and if you, like I said, if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks. Okay, guys, so here's the build. One thing to keep in mind that the build is primarily driven by price and streaming. Uh, so if you're looking for a pure gaming build, there may be a better build. I haven't looked into that because that's not the point of this, and if there's enough people wanting it, I can look into a gaming build that's really not set for streaming, but set for gaming. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. First, I'm going to go into the CPU, which I think is the most important part. It is a 6-core Ryzen 5 2600, and the reason I chose it was because of the core count and the price. When it comes to streaming, Ryzen is better than Intel due to their architecture, and the more cores you have for streaming, the better it is. Gaming, you don't really need core count because most games can't go over 4 cores right now. So although you will sacrifice some gameplay, like game frames, the user or the viewer will get a better picture. So with this, since this is built towards streaming, I'm building it towards what the audience sees, and this will help what the audience sees, and it's pretty decent price at 170. If you have the extra cash, I would go with the higher end version to get the better gigahertz, because that will help your gaming, but it comes at a price. So I will, for the intention of this build to stay under 650, this is the chip I would use. And I use an i5 right now, and I mean not an i5, a Ryzen 5 right now, and I love it. Moving on to the next piece, let's go back. Oops, well. Okay, now I'm gonna go to the GPU. Oops, it loaded down there, the GPU. So this is a pretty decent GPU for price per performance. Again, it's mainly driven by price. You'll probably be running games around medium to high resolution, or not resolution, I'm sorry, medium to high settings. And it's a decent one for its price. Obviously, like I said, it's price driven, so this is kind of what we're stuck with, trying to get into this price point. It's a good GPU. I like NVIDIA a lot. I prefer them over AMD's cards. What's good about this one is it has, let me see if I can find it. There it is. So you have your HDMI, and then you have a D sub. I'm sorry, not a D sub. It says right there, DVI, and a display port. So you can do dual monitors with this. Like for when you stream, you can have one monitor for gaming and one monitor to manage your chat. So this is it's a good little chip card for that. Next to the motherboard. So this is the AS Rock. I'm not too sure how to really pronounce it. So the reason I chose this one is because it says that it's AMD Ryzen 2000 ready. So for those of you who don't know, this is a previous generation board, but the previous generation is compatible with the current generation by simply BIOS updates. So you update the board and it's ready to go. And I've seen, the reason I chose a previous generation board also is because of the price, and I've seen video, and did my research on videos on the previous chipset of the boards versus the current chipset of the boards, and there's virtually no um, performance difference. So why pay the extra? Now, I chose this board specifically because of how it says Ryzen 2000 ready. Personally, for me, I would have actually chose the non-HDV version. And the reason that what the HDV version is let me see if I can get a good angle of this in here. So what it is you see it has these video outputs. This is mainly for a APU, which is a CPU with onboard graphics. We're not using an APU, we're using a CPU. So these onboard graphics won't do anything for us. And as you see, there's four USB 3.0s and two USB 2.0s. If we go to this one right here, the other version, the non-HDV version, it's cheaper. And go to the side. As soon as it loads, I don't know why it's taking so long to load. Let me swap, we go back. Okay, here we go. It actually has more USB ports, which I like USB ports. That's one of the main things I look for on my board. I know you can add them, but I'd rather just have them on the board. So it's cheaper, and you have more USB ports. The problem that I have with this one is that it doesn't say that it's Ryzen 2000 ready. So if you know how to download the BIOS and put add the BIOS onto it, then this is probably the board that you want because you get more USB ports and you get it's cheaper. So in my opinion, it's a better board for the build. But the reason I am suggesting this is because I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you don't know how to do all this kind of stuff. So this is guaranteed to come with the new update, and it's kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, dummy proof. You just put in the chip and you're ready to go. My guess would be if that one's ready, this one's ready, but that's not a guarantee. So if you want to download the BIOS or give it a shot, I would actually go with this one over the other one because, as I said, cheaper, more USB ports. But if you don't care about USB ports and you don't care about the $5, then the other one's probably a safer bet. Okay, moving on. So next is RAM. Pretty much using standard RAM, DDR4 2660. And why? Price. And you get 8 gigs of RAM. I prefer 16, but there's really actually, from what I've seen, no reason to go 16. I just like the future-proof and just in case type of things. And you can run things in the background at the same time. With 8, you're probably not going to be able to run stuff in the background, which is fine. You don't need the web browser up while you're playing games. So it's not a big deal. But mainly, it's price-driven. And Ripjaws is a pretty good RAM. G-Skill is really good. I use G-Skill in my build, and I love it. So, yeah, that's the RAM. Next, let's see what we should. I'll go hard drive. Let's go hard drive. So for this hard drive, pretty much again price driven, $50. It's 1 terabyte, so you get a decent amount of RAM, which is a decent amount of RAM, decent amount of storage. That's pretty cool. I like that, and it's a decent speed. That's a good speed for gaming. It comes with a free SATA cable, which is the cable that you use to hook this up to your motherboard. The motherboard comes with 2 SATAs, so you probably don't need the SATA cable, but just in case, 1 terabyte, you can probably go through pretty fast considering the games. So in the future, if you want to add another hard drive, or maybe get a solid state drive and use that as a boot drive, and then use this as a storage drive, you'll have the extra SATA cable already ready. So I use the Toshiba one as well, and I have no problems with it, so that's why I chose that one. Power supply. So for the power supply, I went a little bit, I don't want to say overboard, but higher grade power supply than others because I found some that were 40 bucks, but I like this one better. Um, I did the calculation on this, on how much power you would need, and it's only like 450. But if you look at the 500 versus the 600, it's the same price. And while the eggs are different, the I I read the complaint on the 600, and the complaint is really only used on an MHX case, which we're gonna use, so no problem there. Um, the reason I went more, I guess, all out on the power supply is because you don't. First off, you don't want the power supply to burn your stuff up. You pick a cheap power supply, it shorts, there goes your PC. All the parts go with it. So you don't. This is one part that you really don't want to skimp on. And the second thing is the modular thing. If you look, I'm trying to get to it without making that little. Like here we go. So those little ports right there, you plug in what you need, so you don't have all these cables running around that aren't connecting to anything. So it's good for cable management, and the case that we're getting is kind of small, so you kind of don't want the cables that you don't need, just so you can get that airflow. And it looks like it's pretty good. The 500 watt version of it got full eggs, so it's tested, and 600 it gives you room to add more things on your computer if you want to later on, maybe a better GPU if you decide to upgrade your GPU later. And it's the same price as the 500, so why not? I don't see why you wouldn't go with that. Okay, now the case. So this case I saw, and I've actually never heard of this brand, but I saw but I liked the case. So the way I was drawn to it is I saw all the fans on it. I'm a really big fan person when it comes to cases. I like my cases coming with pre-installed fans because fans can get expensive when you're buying like 10 bucks each. So it comes with four fans on. Oh, I mean, sorry, not four fans, three fans on it already. That's pretty good for this price point. And then I went in, I saw the reviews. Everyone's saying it's a good case. So I've never used this brand. I've never heard of this brand, but I was drawn to this case for the price point and for the amount of air flowing through it, and also for the number of USBs. As I said, I love my USB ports. This one has three. Most cases at this price point that I went through doing the research only had two, so I like this as a three. It kind of doesn't bother me that they're 2.0s rather than two 2.0s and one 3.0, because like what I've been noticing is a lot of your stuff that you plug into are actually 2.0s. Like, that could be your mouse and your keyboard, and then your 3.0s in the back could be the other more important stuff, and this you could just have a 3.0 in the front to plug in a USB port. I mean, yeah, like a USB drive or something like that. So this case really drew to me just because of the amount of features on it. It really called out to me. And as you see, it's a micro ATX power, and this is a micro ATX board, so it works out. And the last thing, which probably is the least, which is why I saved it there, is a DVD burner slash player. You kind of don't need this because a lot of things don't come on CDs anymore, but I have it just in case. I do use it, like on my computer, I do use a CD every now and then, and backups for programs such as such. I guess you could put those on USBs, but when I buy a backup CD from a manufacturer, it normally comes from on a CD. So that's why I included a CD case, or a CD, well, I guess a DVD player. This one is literally just the cheapest. It's 20 bucks, and then you can use this code, I guess, for a limited time. But I've actually had to switch this out because my original build included a different CD player, but that one was $17, I think. Just pick the one that's on sale. You're going to use it like 3 times a year. You don't need the best of the best of this. Just pick whatever's cheapest. So, the $4 off that, you're actually going lower than the 460 that you saw it's not the 460, I'm sorry, the 640 that you saw on the original page, and the wish list. And that's the build. Like I said, everything's really price driven, and I try to maximize in the different areas as much as I could. And I think it's a pretty solid build, honestly. At first, when I thought I wanted to do a cheap build, I didn't know what I would sacrifice and what I wouldn't. And I feel like there really isn't much sacrifices here. You're getting a good graphics card. You may not be able to play in ultra settings, but you'll be able to play in good settings and get good frame rates. You're getting a good CPU, which I know can play 10 at 1080p ultra setting. Like if you get a new GPU that plays ultra settings and it requires the CPU to draw more, you can stream this with doing 1080p 60 frame stream out. So this can handle what you need for right now. If you unless you decide going bigger with like playing 4K or something, but that's a totally different build, and you probably would need to do a rebuild because yeah, this kind of stuff won't do that. Thanks for viewing. Leave some comments to tell me what you think and what you disagree with. I would love to hear from other people who have this kind of know-how, because I would like to see how if people would maybe pick a cheaper CPU and a better GPU, or maybe go with a cheaper GPU, which I don't know why you would do that, but you know, everyone has the reasons, and get a better CPU. Yeah, if you have another build idea, maybe like a 650 gaming build, maybe you want something a little bit more powerful than this, so maybe you want a $900 streaming build, just let me know. And I like putting these together, so I probably will do it. Yeah, thanks.